Hi, so in this video, I want to go over what I think are some of the better math channels on YouTube. There's a lot of really good math channels on YouTube that have come out, especially the past few years. So I just wanted to share some of those with you. Many of these I've used in different classes that I've taught, and I've recommended many of them to other people. I've used them in the online teaching, given people links to them. And I grouped them into 5 different groups because there seems to be different themes or approaches that different channels take. And so I think it's helpful to group them that way. So if you're looking for a particular type of channel that you're interested in, then you know where to go. So before I start with these, let me just go over some of the conditions or criteria that I used to decide what to include in this list. So first one is that it had to be accurate content. So as a mathematician, I wanted to make sure that I was giving you channels that I know I trust the presenters, that they're knowledgeable in the field, that they really know what they're doing. I mean, of course, barring everyone makes little slip-ups and mistakes every now and then, but barring that they're pretty much, they know what they're talking about and you can trust what they're saying. Also, I wanted to have people that are, well organized, present themselves well, have reasonably good production quality, and also I wanted to include some. I wanted to make sure I included some that have been at least a little bit recent. So they haven't. There's some channels that are okay, but they haven't put out videos in like 2, 3, 4 years. So I wanted to also include some that are currently being updated as we speak, and this is in, we're in June of 2020 right now. So let's start off with this this first group of 4 channels here. So the first one, this is one of my favorite channels in all of YouTube. This is 3 Blue, 1 Brown. So let me open this up. Let's take a look. So what I really like about this channel is he's very good at explaining the big picture for things. So I've actually used his, he has some playlists here. As an Essence of Calculus playlist, as an Essence of Linear Algebra playlist, and I've used each of those in my classes when I teach. And he has a really good way of presenting the big picture and giving you an intuitive way to think about things and see what's going on beyond just the computations that are involved. Especially, like calculus and linear algebra, there's a lot of computation involved with them, and it can be really easy to get lost in that and, miss what's really going on. So, and he's very good with graphics. They're very high production quality. This is one of the best channels on all of YouTube. I'll just maybe open up one of these ones here real quick. Now, most of the ones, they fall into 3 categories. He has these essence of series where he kind of gets the big picture of a topic. He also has just random ones that are just on interesting topics. And then recently, during the pandemic, he's been doing these kind of what he calls them lockdown study sessions, where he has kind of interaction with in a live stream with students. And I've watched a couple of these, and these are also very good as well. So I would recommend those. To just show you one of the ones maybe from the calculus here. We have to wait for the ads.
To its output.
Okay, so we're in the middle of a video here. But you can see there's really good graphics here.
We already have a slight glimpse of one way that they're used. They are the key to solving integral questions, problems that require finding the area under a curve.
So you can see here he's giving some of the background of the big ideas in calculus. So very good channel to use. Let's look at another one of these, Numberphile. So Numberphile, this is a channel that is produced by the MSRI, which is the Mathematical Sciences Research Institute. And this is also a very good channel. What they'll do, the thing I like about this channel is that it's interactive in the sense that there's an interviewer who is talking to usually a professional mathematician or a professional scientist. and asking them to explain something, which they usually explain by talking and then like writing on very, you know, almost writing like with a pen on paper, so very low tech. But still, there's an interaction in the sense that they'll explain something, he'll have a question, they'll answer the question, and then they kind of talk through it. And it goes over a number of different, interesting topics that people would be interested in. You don't need to know calculus necessarily to follow any of these if you just have, a little bit of algebra and geometry. Of course, there are some that do include calculus, but these are all quite good, and I would recommend these. They don't follow any kind of series, like, there's not like a series of introducing you to a topic in 15 videos or so. But there's a lot of good ones. I use a lot of these in my class too for specific topics. Mathologer. So let's take a look at this. So this is a mathematician. I'm not sure the country that he's from, but you can see him up here. Now this channel is a little bit more advanced in the sense that he does assume that you are going to be willing to take a little bit of a leap in thinking about some more difficult topics, and that you really have to take some effort to follow stuff. So it may not be one that you want to jump into if you're just starting pre-calc or so. You might want to look at him. He does cover some topics that you can jump into, but he covers some pretty advanced material in here. Let's just look at some of the recent videos. So he has, this was an interesting one on the cubic formula. Actually, a lot of people might be able to get something out of that. But he also, goes over this, the proof of the transcendence of E in pi. That's a pretty advanced proof that requires some good technical machinery. So he's not afraid to cover topics that assume that you know a little bit going into it. But he's also very good at explaining things, and good graphics, good explanations, and a fun channel. And the last one in this big picture and professional channels, I call them. This is the one exception. I said that they had to be doing current videos. This is the one exception that it was so good that I just couldn't help but including it, even though it's already been not shut down, but they're not continuing with it now. This is the PBS Infinite series. So they cover a lot of different topics. You can see there's the end of an Infinite series, so that's the channel is now not producing anymore. But they go over different things like topology, heat equation, axiom of choice. So some pretty sophisticated topics, but they have a way of bringing a lot of these topics, making them very concrete and explaining them without a lot of technical jargon. And again, I think this was a project of... It was produced by a graduate student at Cornell. I think it was sponsored by some university. But this is a very good channel as well. Okay, going on. Now, the next couple of groups are going to get into more channels that would be the most useful if you're taking a class and you want help with a class. So I group these into instructional lectures and then tutoring homework help. Now, there's not a strict line between these two. They do kind of merge together, but what I included in instructional lectures was those channels that I thought more did like a more presentation of topics where, okay, I'm going to present a topic, we'll go through some examples, but it would be as if you were sitting in a class, for a half hour or an hour, and you listen to an instructor present a topic. Whereas the tutoring homework help, this is more along the lines of the other end of the spectrum, where maybe you've already seen the lecture in class or you've already been presented the topic and you need help with a specific problem that you don't get. Now, this is, again, a spectrum. From all the way on the one hand, it's just pure lecture. We don't assume anything, to you've already seen it. We're just going to do this homework problem. And then there's ones that are in between. There's some of these here that could have really gone into either one. So some of them I had to make a decision. Is this more lecture or is it more, homework help or tutoring? So there's not a clear line between these two. So let me start off with the lecture ones. The first one here is Professor Leonard. This guy was a godsend for me when I was doing, when I had to make the transition to online teaching last semester, because he covers a lot of topics and he's an excellent instructor. And the thing that I like about his channel, besides the fact that just he's very good at presenting things and he's a great teacher, is these are recorded in a real class. So, you'll often see him say things, like, ask a question, someone will answer, or you can hear the students responding. So it's not just someone standing at a lot of these are someone standing at a board and they just work through something and there's no other people that are involved in the recording. This one is in front of a real class, and that gives it a sort of immediacy as if you were in a real class. So some of the topics, he mainly covers STEM sequence stuff. He has beginning, intermediate algebra. He has a lot of calculus, differential equations. I think he's missing a little bit of pre-calc. Let's look at the playlist just to see. Yeah, there's a little bit of college algebra trick, but not too much there. Mostly calculus, statistics, and algebra, I would say. So, very good channel there. This is one of the first ones I recommend to people. Some of the videos are long, because they record the whole class session. I mean, some of them are an hour and a half, 2 hours. But, this is one of the first ones that I'll give people if I want to say, if you want to see just a completely like you were walking into another classroom to just sit in and see what they're going to be talking about, this is one of the first ones I recommend. Next, Eddie Wu. This is also a really great teacher. So he is from Australia. And YouTube stories, learning mathematics with WooTube. Okay. So he has a great teaching style. I really like the way he teaches. Another thing about this channel is it is recorded. A lot of them, not all of them, but many of them are recorded in front of a real classroom. So you can you can hear interactions with students even if you can't see them. And he covers a lot of different topics up through, like calculus, a little bit of differential equations, and some other stuff here. So there's other non-mathematical stuff. So that's the other condition, is I tried to pick ones that are primarily math. It didn't have to be 100% math, but mostly math. He does have some other stuff here. But anyway, this guy's written some books. He's really good at explaining things, and so I'd recommend him as another place to go for instructional lectures. Math Dr. Bob. So this is not recorded in front of a classroom, but this guy's very thorough. He has very organized, well-presented lectures. And if we go to the playlists, what's interesting about him is he has a ton of different material here. All the way from, he has Algebra 2, trig geometry, statistics, of course he has the calculus sequence, but he also has some really advanced topics presented in a lecture style. For instance, he has a whole bunch of abstract algebra videos here. That's an upper division class. Complex analysis, a little point set topology, representation theory, algebraic geometry. These are graduate level subjects. So he runs the whole gamut from pre-calculus up through calculus, differential equations, and some much more advanced topics. But I also recommend him. Prof. Rob Bob. Okay, so I can.
Bam! Mr. Taru from Taru's Chalk Talk. I've been a math teacher since '96. If you're looking for free math help, check out my full-length lessons covering topics from algebra all the way up through calculus and statistics. One of my most repeated comments, I make math fun. Here's a sample of what you can expect.
So, yeah, he is fun, and he's also very good at explaining things. If we look at some of the content he has. He's kind of a mix in between presentation and doing problems or homework. He will present stuff, but then he has a lot of examples as well. And he's got a good energy. He's he's fun to watch. Think Well Vids. Okay, so this was a little bit different. I don't know who. Mainly what I'm talking about here is this person. I don't know what his name is. Some of his videos are quite old, but he does a lot of these math videos. Now, most of them are algebra, so that's what you'll see mostly. So if let's go to videos. Yes, you'll see here. There's up until, I don't know, these are put up like a year ago, and I don't know when they were recorded. Probably recorded before then. They are primarily focused on beginning and intermediate algebra, so there's not really a whole lot. There's no calculus really in here. But the thing I like about it is, they're nice, quick presentation of specific topic. And he does kind of he pushes the intermediate algebra a bit. So he gets a little bit into pre-calculus. This is a very good channel to go to if you need to review some algebra and pre-calculus topics before you're taking, say, pre-calculus or calculus. For instance, he has a bunch of videos on induction. There's a couple of different ones with induction here. Permutations, combinations, a little bit of probability stuff. Some matrix things, Cramer's rule. It's in between like a intermediate algebra and pre-calculus, but a lot of real good videos in here. And the last one, as far as the more instructional lecture-oriented channels, is Mr. YU. Now, this one is primarily algebra videos. If you go to here, you can see it's pre-algebra, algebra. They have like one video on infinite series and 3 on topology. So this would be good if you're wanting to review, say, going into pre-calculus. If you're really solid on your algebra, you're really solid on your beginning, intermediate algebra, probably you're not going to get much out of this. But if you need to review some of these topics, this is good. So, for instance, it has, completing a square. The thing I like about this is, again, the graphics are kind of funny and fun, and very visually oriented. So. Hello.
Professor Von Schmohawk. And welcome to YU. So far, x plus 3. So this perfect square quadratic can also be written as x plus 3 quantity over 2 quantity squared.
So here you can see they give a nice visual presentation behind the meaning of completing the square, what's really going on when we're completing the square here. So that gives you a little bit of an idea what those are about. Moving on, let's go to some of the tutoring homework help ones, because this is... these are the ones probably the people are most interested in knowing about, where they could go. Patrick JMT. This is one of the oldest math channels on YouTube, and I think it's one of the best. Very low tech. As you can see, it's basically just, him recording, writing on paper with a Sharpie and talking. But the thing I like about him is he's just super solid in his knowledge, and he's super solid in explaining things. It's nothing fancy, but ton of examples. And what I would recommend doing here is just, clicking on the search and just type in whatever problem it happened to be. Let's say you needed to do, for instance, say you wanted to look up integration by parts. Integration by parts. So you can see there's like a ton of very short, quick. So these are homework problem oriented. So you already know kind of integration by parts. He's going to do a quick example for you. Yeah, so this guy, I mean, it's at least 10 or 12 years old, this channel. And he has a few other...
Howdy out there, YouTube. I am Patrick JMT, and this is my math channel.
So he has a few other little topics, but for the most part, it's STEM math STEM math videos. Okay, what's next? Houston Math Prep. This is also one of the ones that I think is, kind of in between lecture and homework problems. You can see the videos are a little bit longer than a single problem. A lot of them are 10 to 15 minutes. But these are just very, good examples, well explained, organized, presented, everything.
Welcome back, everyone. Houston Math Prep here with a related rates example video involving volume in a cylinder. So we've got water being drained out of a cylindrical tank, and the cylindrical tank has a radius of 12 inches.
Okay, so this is a related rates problem in calculus. Let's see. Come on. Okay. So, as you can see, very clear.
Because we have it over here, we want to solve dV dt when dH dt is negative 3 inches per minute. So we have both of those things.
Okay, so what I would recommend, again, for this one, and for a lot of these ones that are just for homework help, just go into the search bar here and just type in the topic of the homework problem that you're looking for. Another thing you can do is go to the playlists, and if you're in a particular class, just go to the playlist for the class and just scroll through those topics till you find what you're looking for. Mario's Math Tutoring. He's very quick to the point. Maybe not terribly exciting, but ton of topics here. You can see his playlists. He covers mostly things from algebra, trigonometry, geometry, pre-algebra. I don't think he does a whole bunch of calculus, maybe a little bit, but mostly up through pre-calculus. But again, very quick, to the point. If you just want to get right to the point on a particular problem, then that's where you can go. Brian McLogan. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting channel in that it's a lot of very short videos, and it's primarily focused on beginning algebra, intermediate algebra, up to maybe pre-calculus. And there's a lot of videos here, so what I would suggest doing is either go to a playlist. So you can look through here, look at the playlist. It goes by class, and then you can go further and look at a specific topic. You can see some of these, like simplifying expression, 125 videos. I think what he did is he just said, just have a camera all the time when I'm in class, just record everything I do, and we'll just break each little problem up into one single video. The derivative, 212 videos. Okay, so if you are calculating some derivative. Now, one really good thing about his channel, I forget what is the name of this for the picture you put up on when you're looking at it, whatever this is called. He puts up the problem, or however much you can put up of the problem in the frame here. So if you're scrolling through here and you're saying when you take a derivative, it's very easy just to scroll through these and just look until you see a problem on that kind of chalkboard there that looks like one that you're doing. Maybe not exactly the same, but it looks similar to it. And you can do that for all sorts of different topics. So this was differentiation. We could go to something like absolute value equations. Okay, so now, and again, you can see if you go to the playlist and you scroll through them, just keep going until you see one of these that looks like a problem that you're interested in doing. So chances are, if he's covered the topic, there's going to be a problem on here that's similar to what you're looking for. Okay, what is there? Yay Math. So this guy's really fun. He has, I want to show you it's down here. So he, a couple of years ago, he has this.
One more involving tangent. Where's my...
He has an Obama impersonation. Obamath.
Hello, I'm President Barack Obama, and this is Obama. Yeah. We're down to 2.
The other two
Hey,
digits last.
hey.
Yeah, the other
But
two
now,
digits.
but now we got twice the energy.
Twice the energy, yes,
Let's
sir.
Get this going.
We're almost out of here, so we're gonna. You can hear a pin drop in the Oval Office. But we're gonna do some do some tricks.
Okay, so you can say he clearly doesn't take himself too seriously, but he does take his teaching seriously, and he has a lot of good videos. So it's another fun channel if you're looking for. Again, it's one of these ones that's kind of a mix between lecturing and doing specific problems. Nancy Pye. Okay, and again, it's very. This is more homework problem oriented. She has a lot of these ones. She has, what. So they're either like, there's something. What is it? Or now there's something. How do we do it? So it's very short videos answering specific questions. What is this? How is this? How do I notate this? How do I solve this kind of problem? How do I remember this? How do I simplify this? So, again, covering, I think it's, mostly from pre-calc, algebra, pre-calc, trigonometry, up to like calculus 1. So, last one. I like this guy, Math Sorcerer. Just found his channel a little while ago. Most of his videos are short homework problems. You can see here's a bunch of calculus, multivariable calculus kind of stuff. He also, though, has quite a few of what I would say are, like, I don't want to say motivational, but he talks more about the math experience, being a math student, what it's like to advance in mathematics and go through undergrad, lower division, upper division, even to grad school. He talks a lot about math books. He talks about how to succeed in classes, a mental approach to being a student, how to study better. And so I really like a lot of those videos. And I think it's good because it gives you in a sense of that, being a math student is more than just showing up to class, listening to what's being taught. You go and you do the homework at home, you get your grade at the end. There's a culture that if you're really serious about going to math or really STEM at all, there's a culture that you need to kind of absorb. You want to, kind of know, how do people think about things? How do they approach problems? There's just, there's just lingo and, all sorts of, things. What's going to happen when I get to this, stage in my education? What am I going to have to do? Who should I talk to? What's the process like? And he has a lot of videos that answer a lot of those questions. You can see here, when math is hard for everyone, discouragement. So I really like a lot of those videos that he has. Okay, so we're through those two major categories of the either the lecture ones or the homework ones that most people are going to be using in class. The last couple here I kind of grouped into one I called problem solving. Now you might think, well, what is that? How is that different from homework help? Homework help, you're doing problems, right? Well, the difference here is these ones, they're problem, but they're not like traditional homework problems. So a lot of these ones they're based on, there's certain types of problems that show up in certain types of classes. Like, in say a Calculus 1 class, there's probably like 1,000 typical calc problems, like a format for them. And, I've taught Calculus 1, I don't know, at least 15 times. And, it's the same questions over and over again. In every textbook, it's the same type of question, if it's not exactly the same. So these kind of channels are geared towards those specific kind of questions that you see over and over again in different classes. These ones are more focused in on problem solving, improving your problem solving skill, and just solving problems for the sake of problem solving, because it's fun. So black pen, red pen. This guy's a blast.
Hello, my name is Black Pen Red Pen and welcome to my math channel. Firstly, I want to wish you well and healthy. And secondly, I want to tell you, I will be making math videos for you in the apartment until the quarantine is over. I know I don't have those big boards anymore, but hopefully this way, I can create a more comfortable profile for you when we do math. And we have Teddy and Xiaotutu, and a lot more other people, they will come and join us when we do math. So hopefully you can join us too. Lastly, if you want to do math for fun with us, then definitely subscribe so that you don't miss out any future videos. Thank you so much for checking out my channel, and I will see you in my new videos.
So he has a lot of, I've watched a lot of his videos. I mean, and you know, I'm a mathematician. I've watched a lot of his videos and gotten something out of many of them. So he has a lot of them are a little bit more advanced in that they require maybe a little bit of calculus. He has a lot of calculus problems, or they involve some, you know, something that's a little bit more advanced in algebra or geometry. You just hear one about the Laplace transform, but they all have a little twist. They're definitely what I would guess you could say they're challenge problems. I'm not sure. I don't know where he gets a lot of these. Maybe he has a number of different sources, but they're all definitely beyond, you know, the typical problem that you would see in a homework section, and they're usually instructive in some way in that they show you something, a way of thinking about a problem that you can improve your problem solving skills. So just the fact that there's just so many really super interesting problems on here, and that even me as a math person who's very experienced in math, getting a lot out of a lot of these videos. It's a really fun channel. Art of Problem Solving. So this is channel so this guy Richard, I don't know how to say his last name, Reski, Rezix, probably butchering his last name. You know, this is AMC. So AMC here. So these are like problems that are taken from math competition.
Strictly increasing sequence of non-negative integers looks like that, such that this fraction equals this sum over here.
So these are all questions that are from various math competition ones. So these math competition problems, again, it's not like homework problems. These are problems that have some kind of twist to it, something you have to think about a little bit deeper to do it, that goes beyond just a straightforward application of things that you've been taught before. So again, I would recommend a lot of these videos. Even if you watch a video, you're not able to do it on your own, so you want to try these on your own. If you're not able to get it, that's not the point. The point is to think about the problems and challenge yourself and improve your problem-solving skills. Mind Your Decisions. This one, there's a lot of really good videos on here. Sometimes, I do have to say this, sometimes he includes some that I just think are, I don't want to say silly, they're just kind of like this viral math problem. Some of them are just not, I don't think, as instructive, but the ones that he does have that are interesting, I think are very interesting. So he will pick some problems, usually either from some math competition one, or some viral problem that's gone online, or just something he's picked up from somewhere, and it falls into mental math tricks. He's got some stats and probability stuff, logic puzzles, brain teasers, geometry, algebra stuff. So a lot of good ones. Not everyone, again, in here, what I would say is really necessarily great, but most of them are, and a lot of them I've gotten a lot out of and found very interesting. So Mind Your Decisions, Presh Talwalkar. Okay, the last few here, these are, I didn't really know which section to put these in, so I just said they're miscellaneous fun stuff. Stand-up maths. So this is Matt Parker. So he is a kind of math person, stand-up comedian, I guess. And so he has just, various fun stuff, either, something to do with math, but something with a twist. And he's, since he's a comedian, of course, he presents it in a very fun way. So And he goes, you know, a little bit outside math at times too, but that's okay. So that's another fun channel. Think Twice. This is a channel that presents visual explanations of things, and some of them there's I don't really think any narration other than, you know, there's some verbal explanation, written explanation. But the one that I saw, for instance, was geometric probability puzzle. Okay, so we'll usually start off with a particular problem. Okay, so we've got the unit square. Choose a point randomly, uniformly chosen inside the unit square. And then we form this angle. What's the probability the angle is obtuse? Okay, so, and you can see, then what he goes through, I'll show you just, you know, some of the, so he presents a nice visual demonstration of this theorem. And you can see here's, so you can see it's very visual. You know, this almost looks like there's a certain version of Euclid's Elements that's kind of like pictorial like this. It reminds me of that. So this gives you a good idea of the kind of style of these. Some problem that is solved in the geometric way usually, that has a nice visual presentation to the solution. Flammable maths. Okay.
Good morning, fellow mathematician. Thanks for taking a look at my channel. When you scroll through the videos here on this channel, you might notice that this right here is just your regular, everyday, normal maths channel. So enjoy your stay. If you want, join the family by pressing the subscribe button. And well, up until the next video, I'm wishing you a flammable day. See ya. Welcome back to Naba.
Yeah, it's not just just an ordinary math channel. So now he does present a lot of more advanced topics. So if we look at some recent videos, so a trig question, probability and logic stream. So I have seen him, you know, Euler's result here, an infinite integral. He doesn't shy away from getting in some pretty sophisticated mathematics here. But a lot of fun stuff on here. And he doesn't take himself too seriously, which is always good. V cubing X. This is a pretty recent channel, I think. And it reminds me a lot of the 3 Blue, 1 Brown, in that it has a lot of good visual presentations of things. So for instance here, Green's theorem.
Higher magnitude vectors on the top and lower magnitude vectors on the bottom. This results in an overall clockwise rotation, which is negative curl. We can represent curl as a cross product between the del vector, which by the way is every partial derivative, and the vector field. For now, let's not go over why, but I highly suggest watching this video by 3 Blue 1 Brown if you're curious. First, let's look at the line integral of our vector field.
Okay, so again, very good presentation, good graphics. I think it's not too old of a channel. Let's see how long he's been on. Yes, it's 2012, but I really think he's really only been starting to put out a lot of videos recently. So wish him luck in getting more videos out, and I look forward to seeing them. Tipping point math, the last one I'll go over here. Again, I think this is a more recent one. Not too many videos here, not updated too recently, but I just saw enough good stuff here that I thought I'd recommend it. So it's got, you know, stuff about proof of square root 2 being irrational. There's a nice video on a harmonics series. here, I guess some probability ones. So, just various stuff. So those are a collection of what I think are some of the best YouTube math channels. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you later.